Okay, all right. How many Presbyterians does it take to pass out some papers? Oh, goodness. Right. Well, as moderator of the session, let me call this annual meeting of the congregation to order and ask our clerk of session, Susan Carter, do we have a quorum? We do. We have a quorum. And then I'm just going to invite you to come forward, Susan.
The session has prepared this annual report. It has a lot of good information in it. A lot of time was spent doing that, so enjoy reading it. I would like to thank the outgoing elders. The session would like to thank the outgoing elders of the class of 2023. If you would please come forward. Donna Dix, Laura Russell, Janet Spear, and Rick Garrett. Oh, okay. I'll just stand behind. This is just a small thank you from the session for the time that you all have spent working in meetings, in committee meetings, in planning and sharing the joy that we have as a church family. This is for Laura Russell, Janet Spear, Donna Dix, and Rick Garrett.
Thank you.
My joy is to talk about the annual statistics that we have from our church. It's been 2023 has been an exceptional year of growth in members here. We have 6 new members by reaffirmation of faith or affirmation, 3 new youth members, and 18 new members in transfer from another church. 22 members is a great thing to rejoice in one year. And as clerk, that's the largest number I can remember in one year. Not only that, these members have come in and are active and are participating in activities, and we welcome them all. It's great joy. The Presbytery has encouraged our church to review the church rolls and put on the inactive list any members who are not participating. So we followed this request. The good news about our attendance is that in past years it was always based on people sitting in these pews in these walls. And now with the new technology that our session, this church, this congregation has made possible we've been able to live stream and YouTube, and we have a lot more we can report that we can count a lot more worshipers with us on each Sunday. It's really increased. For example, in 2021, the average attendance in this church, in the pews, was 134. In 2022, it was 146. But the 2023 average worship attendance, with the investment of our technology and audio and video upgrades, we can now reach out to people who we know in Montana, in Louisiana. They're just people all around. There are people in our community who can't come in during the day, but are able to worship with us. And the average total worship for 2023 is 212. That's a one-year growth of 66 people. And that represents an increase of 45% growth in this church. And at a time when other churches are not doing these same numbers, I think it's a lot to rejoice about, and for this church family to share with each other and is a great thing to celebrate. I want to thank the session for their hard work and their diligence in planning and organizing and making all this happen, to our pastor, our interim pastor, and to the leadership and encouragement we have from the music program. And we're just blessed in so many ways. And I celebrate the fact that I can share this church family in these walls and beyond. And we have a lot to be excited about. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Chappie?
I'm going to get off script a little bit.
Okay.
After that,
expected
after that sermon, when you retire to Louisville, I know where your next stewardship sermon, you just need to save that one. You've teed me up for my part today. And I come before you to report that we had a fantastic year financially in 2023. Realistically, I don't know how we could have done any better than what we did. Our contributions exceeded the last 5 years. Our year-end surplus exceeded the last 5 years. Because of these good results, mid-year, we were able, and I don't want to step on Laura's toes, but we were able to resume our benevolences. We had cut back in anticipation of a poor year, and we were able to resume where we had been in years past. We were also able to make improvements to our sound system. We went from an analog to a digital sound system, and to replace our server for our computer system. We did all that this past year. And in conjunction with all of that, our stewardship campaign was very positive, and this enabled us to give our staff a 5% increase for this calendar year. So, on behalf of the session and the Finance Committee, I say thank you for a very successful year. Thank you.
You mentioned the 2024 budget is in the...
Okay, in your packet, there is the 24 budget, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to talk to you after we get through. Okay, thank you.
Laura Russell.
Thank you for teeing me up. I am not reading a bunch of numbers out to you. If you want to look at the budgeted benevolences, oh, I'm sorry, I'm here representing missions. I should have said that. Anyway, missions is a huge, big pot, and we have more than one place we get to operate out of. And one of those is the budgeted benevolences, and those are the ones that we were able to restore after a wonderful 2023 in our giving to the previous year's budget. So instead of having to cut back, we popped it back up to our 2022 giving for budgeted benevolences, and that turns out to be about 18% of the budget. But there is a huge number of things that we do that you can't find readily because the money comes in, the money goes out, things come up, we try something new. Oh, there's a need. Oh, let's help it out. So we do a lot of that too. And let me just highlight some of those things that we have done, and they will blow your socks off, I think. Actually, I want to go back just a skosh because Whit didn't know about us before he came in. We showed him right away with the food relief boxes to Ukraine, which was also called Project Ruth, that we put our money where our mouth was, and we supported giving to those people just for one time. We sent $9,000 with Pat Anderson and his grandson Davis to a group effort out of Romania. We sent enough money to pack 205 boxes, and within each of those boxes were enough calories and protein to sustain 4 people. And we did that in 2022. So Whit says, okay, these people got some chutzpah. Let's see what else they can do. They gotta go along. That's right. So we showed him through special offerings, one great hour of sharing at Easter, joy offerings at Christmas, turkey boxes where we fed 45 families with caboodles of food, plus giving not only the individual boxes that families gave, but dollars to purchase in case they couldn't physically bring a box. We celebrated 130 years of existence as a church, and one of the things that we did was to participate in an international project through the presbytery, and that was the distribution of more energy efficient cook stoves in Guatemala. Now, we support Guatemala in various ways, through scholarships, through direct giving with our sister church. And you will find some of those in the budget. You will also find that some of our gifts to our Guatemala sisters and brothers are over and above that. And the Guatemala stoves was brand new to us. So we saw that this effort was designed to be an acceptable improvement in the traditional way of cooking in Guatemala. They have traditionally cooked with wood. They'll chop down their forests, not be able necessarily to replace those forests, so they're using wood in an open air covered cooking area, which is like being at camp all year long, breathing in wood smoke. It works. That's the way they cook. They like it like that. They also have breathing problems with their children. They have a lot of smoke produced. So these stoves kind of bridging the gap a little bit to maintain that. These stoves will use the wood. Less wood is necessary when it was contained within the stove. The smoke was vented out away from the places where they walking and the children are playing, and they were wholeheartedly accepted. We gave $5,860 just to that effort. The Rob Clemmer Fund, if anybody remembers Rob Clemmer, he often forwarded, is the word I'm looking for, forwarded people's requests to our church to help them out when their life was getting a little sticky. And we use that for needy folks, and we have dispersed $7,700 just from that fund alone. In the Super Bowl of Caring this year, $1,900. We received 2 estate gifts for international missions valued at $25,000 and $100,000. We worked to secure a $20,000 grant through the Presbytery of Western North Carolina for Habitat for Humanity in Avery County. Not only the dollars, but we have people who are busy behind the scenes and in the classrooms upstairs. I'm thinking of the women who helped with sewing projects to create and build washable feminine hygiene products for our Presbytery's delegation to take to Malawi. Why, you say? It's because teenage girls in Malawi often don't go to school for a week every month. And this keeps them in school. And we figured out a way that was culturally acceptable for places that don't have a CVS on every corner to deal with that. The Prayer Shawl folks and the Comfort Makers folks continue to use their gifts of time and energy to prepare things that are physical comforts to people throughout our community. And let me not forget the preschool. All of us here are helping to support the preschool, by providing a place for them to continue their good works. I think that's pretty overwhelming, don't you? And you can't find it on the budget. So just understand that we're doing a good work, and I congratulate you for your efforts, your time, and your giving. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura and Pam Harden. I saw her. There you are, right there.
So, good afternoon. My name is Pam Harden, and I've begun my first year as an elder on our session. And with Jesse Pope, I'll be working with the Stewardship Committee and our Permanent Funds Ministry. The purpose of the Permanent Funds Ministry is to provide endowments to expand the mission and ministry of Banner Elk Presbyterian Church and to assist in capital improvements to church-related property. The Permanent Funds Ministry is not meant to substitute the annual budget or any special giving requests for immediate needs. These funds are legacy gifts and currently invested with the Presbyterian Foundation, and they're considered permanent assets of our church. The income from these funds is focused on meeting future needs. The Permanent Funds Ministry, I'm going to kind of echo something that Laura just said. It was first approved by the session on May 15, 2008, and the fund balance has continued to grow over the years, and we currently have approximately $225,000 in invested funds. This year, we did receive two bequests, as Laura mentioned. Two major gifts. One was for $25,000 designated to support our partner church in Guatemala. And the second bequest was for $100,000, and the income will be designated to international missions. In addition to the annual giving and the occasional capital drives, a legacy or planned gift is an important way that we can all help fund our ministry and mission of this church. I had a little help from Whit in preparing this, so thank you. And this will ensure that we are here for future generations. If you'd like more information about how you can make a lasting gift or planned gift to the Permanent Funds Ministry, please talk with Whit, Dee Dee, Jesse Pope, or myself, and we'd be glad to talk with y'all. Thank you so much for all you do in this exciting report. Thank you.
And last but not least, Bob Todd, reporting from the Pastoral Nominating Committee.
So along with Murray, I'm the co-chair of the PNC, and many of the other 6 members are here. We have a great group. We've met every Monday since the 1st of October. In October and November, we did all the paperwork required to tell the world what we wanted. And so we got session approval of all the paperwork in December. January, the Presbytery approved it. And then we started networking. And Whit has been a godsend. He helped us get in touch with people from his former church in Hickory. We learned about networking. We contacted over 30 leaders of the Presbyterian Church to get their help in identifying who our next pastor should be. And as a result of that, we have received about 40 matches. Half came from the computer match, but more importantly, about half of those are people who have read about the church, have heard from these leaders, and know what we want and know that we have something very valuable. We're still working with about 15 or 20 people. We have met with Zoom or have in the next 2 weeks set up Zoom meetings with 8 candidates. And we continue to get new candidates every week. So we need your prayers to continue, and you can keep looking. And if you find somebody that you think we ought to look at, contact us. Or Whit. Whit has been Whit knows that he's here until we get a pastor. So he has a vested interest, but we do need your prayers, and we hope to continue the process and be successful, and we'll keep you posted.
That's a question. Do you feel at this point, you say you've got down like 8 folks, do you feel you're at a point to where you can see the next passion in that? Or, as you say, no, you're still welcoming your resumes, you're still welcoming that, because at some point, when are you gonna say, okay, here we are, we've got, kind of like fish at that thing, now we're at the point where we've got to move on.
We're excited about the people we've been looking at. Very excited as a group. And we're trying to narrow it down. We certainly are going to finish Zoom meetings with the ones that we've already set up. And that'll be happening in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And at that point, we'll make a decision. Do we have somebody we want to investigate further? Do we want to fly to Sweden and
Now you're talking. Did that answer your question? Yeah, yeah. Still kind of early there, yeah. And last but not least, I'm going to ask the past president of the corporation. You may know this, that the church is not only a church, but also a corporation for state law purposes. Chappie Petrie to come and present a slate of officers for the next year, for 2024. Chappie, would you come?
I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Vanderbilt Presbyterian Church Incorporated. And I have a slate of officers for the calendar year 2024, and they are President William Deathless, Vice President Sarah Brewer, Secretary Susan Carter, and me, Chappie Petrie, Treasurer. So I present this as a motion to you for a new slate of officers, and as a motion, so I'm going to ask, is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion? If not, would you please signal your approval by saying aye? Aye. Any noes? I think we do.
Thank you. You may know that the corporate officers basically deal with anything that has to do with legalities, and particularly they act if the church was ever going to take on debt, which not in my time here, we ain't taking on no debt. So they would be, execute the documents and that sort of thing. Otherwise, our elders are the spiritual leaders of the church. I just want to close with one thought. When we see on the news there's been a tornado or a hurricane or a wildfire, we don't know how to speak about that, and so the insurance industry has come up with this idea that it is an act of God. And, we don't really believe that, but for whatever reason, that's what we call it. I want to reclaim that phrase, act of God, to describe what I've witnessed in this congregation over the past year. I've been here about 16 months, and as Pam said, I didn't know you. I knew of you. I knew of you through Field, but I didn't know you. And so these past 16 months have allowed me to get to know you and kind of what makes you tick, and what is the DNA of this congregation. And that whole process has been a blessing, but even more a blessing has been to see the act of God that has taken place over these past months in this church. You all, almost all of you, were here through some fairly recent and difficult times. And so you understand that where we are now is very different from that. And I think that we can pat ourselves on the back, we can have some holy pride for what has happened here, but we need to give the glory to God. It has been an act of God, and I have felt very honored and privileged to be a part of that. So that's why I wanted this annual meeting to be a celebration, and not just a boring old Presbyterian annual meeting. So let us stand and let me offer a prayer, and then we'll see if we can follow the Baptists to lunch. Gracious God, we thank you for how you have acted in this congregation over the past months, the many, many good things that you have done among us and through us. And because of us, we continue to remember the heritage that we are privileged to tap into. We remember our founders and what they, through your spirit and their determination, what they did in these mountains and the work that we still are privileged to carry on. So we thank you for this celebration. We thank you for this beautiful place in which we live, and we thank you for this congregation that you have called each of us into. Through Christ we pray. Amen. Go in peace.